This is the Marathon Handbook Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Doyle, and I'm joined, as always, by Katelyn Tocci and Alex Sear. And
as always?
Yeah. So, didn't get the message last week. You guys podded without me. Something we need to talk about here? What's going on?
Yeah. Actually, I was kind of surprised to see you jump on the Riverside chat today, Michael. Someone got a hold of our side channel.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like when it was just me and you, Katelyn. I like when we talk.
Ouch.
I like when I hear myself talk more, and when I hear you talking. Now it's going to be all Michael, blah, blah, blah. We're going to talk about New York City. Who's raced New York City a bunch of times? Michael.
No, Michael, you know what? We just hope, on a more serious note, we hope that we made you proud, that we were able to hold down the fort last week while you were with Smith's track league.
Yeah, Michael was wearing the track coach hat, which is a cool hat to wear, but not as cool as the hat that he's currently wearing. If you're just listening to this podcast and you're not watching it on YouTube, Michael has what I think is the best Marathon Handbook branded creation so far. Did you want to elaborate on what it is you are wearing right now?
Beautiful, beautiful segue, Alex. Thank you very much. So we are doing a live show in New York on Saturday, this coming Saturday. So we're going to all descend upon New York City tomorrow. We're recording this on Tuesday. So Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to show up doing all kinds of coverage. And one of the things we're going to do is a live recording of this podcast, a live event. We've got a place booked. We'll put it in the show notes. It's called the Balance Arts Center. It's in Midtown. It's at 151 West 30th Street. If you know your way around Manhattan, doors open at 11:30. It's free. We'll put a link to the Google form where you can just fill out your RSVP and get a spot. There's pretty limited number of seating because it's an intimate venue, but we'll make sure to fit everyone in that RSVPs. So please do that. And first 40 people through the door will get the very hat that I'm wearing on my head right now, the exclusive limited edition Marathon Handbook Running Sicko hat. You asked and we have answered. We have made our first piece of exclusive swag for New York City. I thought it was fitting. Got 40 of these babies mailed to my front door this weekend, and actually 40 plus one for each in our team.
Oh, so, I was going to say, I hope we get one as well.
That was my question. Can I be included in the 40, please? Yeah.
If you come through the door, you're one of the first 40. You're going to get one of these sweet hats.
Nice.
And show's free, as I said before. And it takes place, I think we're going to record from about 12 noon until, we got the place until 2 o'clock. So we'll do 12 to 1:30 or so. We'll answer your questions as well. So come preloaded with as many questions as you'd like for us. Throw them at us. We'll talk about New York. We're going to have a couple of special guests as well. We're going to keep those guests secret for now, but we'll let that drip out on our social media in the next coming days. So make sure you follow us on Instagram to see more. I'm gonna post a picture of the hat as well. So
nice.
What else we got? What else we have in New York?
There's so many things, guys. So we're gonna have a very busy weekend again. Didn't I just see you guys? I basically just popped over to come home for a few days. I should have just spent a month up in the Northeast.
Yeah. So we've covered Chicago. We've covered Toronto. We're now pivoting to New York. We're going to spend the better part of a week in New York City, which is always both a treat and kind of a surreal experience being in that city for that long.
And but Halloween weekend.
And Halloween.
Which would be insane.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. Run in? Okay, hold on here. I didn't think of this. I didn't plan this in the show notes, but it is overlapping with Halloween, which New York does every once in a while because it's always the first November of the first Sunday in November each year is the New York City Marathon. And this so happens to be falling on the week. It's not, it's not Halloween Eve, but what Halloween costume would you wear to run the New York City Marathon, Alex? Here.
I made a reel yesterday with my 8 favorite running related Halloween costumes that are too niche and gave people a selection to choose from. There's There's the millennial runner. So like basically just wear all the doodads that you can find. 2 watches, an iPhone holder, headphones, a ball cap, long compression socks, a hydration vest, everything. Then there's the opposite to that, which works well in a hot day, which is the 90s runner, which is like nothing but a pair of shorts or shorts and a sports bra if you're a woman.
Cotton shorts, even cotton socks.
Yeah, even better. Even
Don't
better.
Even care.
You can go as Ryan Hall of 2025. So the former American half marathon record holder who's now picked up bodybuilding and now has like super muscular physique. So you can,
Dude's jacked.
You can be a runner and like just have the still super skinny ankles, but pad up on the top end to like be big and buff. You can be Joe Klecker, which is just basically like wear on gear and tape on a mustache. You can be
the guy's debuting in the marathon this weekend.
Yeah,
we'll
that's
talk
right.
about the elite field in a little bit, and curious to hear what your thoughts are on Mr. Klecker. How he's going to do.
Got some thoughts. There are many more.
You could do like your costume could be Joe Klecker at the end of his debut marathon. Could be a different look.
What about
maybe some bloody nipples and destroyed Light Strike LS shoes?
Good. Don't sewer the guy. He might look great at the end of his debut.
We don't
know
phenomenal.
Yet.
That's true.
My personal favorite, and I think that's the one that the viewers like the most, Lazarus Lake as a Halloween costume. Orange cap, fake cigarette, or real, if you're into that. What do you call those? Plaid button-up shirt,
flannel.
Glasses.
It's got to be a flannel shirt.
Thank you. Flannel was the word I was looking for.
No,
there's a lot.
Can you get racing flannel? Is that a
well, I don't know if you can get racing flannel, but there are absolutely button-down shirts, especially for trail runners, that have plaid and all of these different, very cool patterns. So you can find something to run in like that for sure.
Yeah, has Forrest Gump sort of lost its grip on monoculture? What's left of monoculture? Could you go as Forrest Gump? Because famously Forrest Gump. There's the whole sequence where he runs across America and then stops somewhere in Arizona and just decides he's done with the giant beard. You go as Forrest Gump. That's a good one.
I think that's too on the nose. I don't. Yeah, maybe monoculture doesn't exist, but I think anymore. But I think Forrest Gump is not only counterculture in running; it's now anti-culture because we've used it so much. And the like "run Forrest run" trope has just become this thing to piss runners off. And so I think dressing up as Forrest would be too on the nose.
All right, so it's happening on Halloween. We're going to see some costumes.
We will.
I now have to pack my pumpkin costume or my ghost costume. My two go-tos that I wear when I go to my kids' elementary school costume thing on the weekends.
Oh, you really do have costumes. Okay.
Is that just
when you have a small child? You have a costume.
I could bring Rainbow Bright. I've been Elsa running from Frozen. I've got plenty if we need to bring costumes.
Running Elsa. Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, running Elsa.
Yeah. Competitive princess wear. Yeah. Okay, so New York. We're going to be there covering the hell out of the race the entire weekend. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on our YouTube. It'll be on our site. We're going to be sending out some dedicated e-blasts, so be sure to subscribe to the newsletter. You can do that at marathonhandbook.com/newsletter because we'll send out, we're going to do like the breaking news alerts when the race is wrapped up. So you can just open your email and discover don't worry, we won't spoil it. We won't put it in the subject line. We've learned our lesson the hard way. It will be something you'll have to click through to read. I don't want, not to be too cute, but we know that people are very sensitive to that. Sometimes they want to watch the race back after they've done their long run. I have been that person in the past. So we won't spoil it, but we will provide you an alert when the races are wrapped. And then right afterwards, we're going to jump right into doing an instant reaction podcast. Oh, and I just buried the lead here. We're also doing, of course, our patented live watch-along show on our YouTube channel. The three of us, full team in New York, up in the game a little bit. I'm working on stuff in the background right now. The production values are going to be a little higher. And so we're going to provide a second screen experience. Obviously, If you can stream the race, by all means do so. It's difficult to access in some parts of the world. And also, if you'd prefer to hear the three of us chit-chatting about the marathon weekend and about the experience of watching this race and about what's happening in the elite race in real time, watch along with us. You can do so on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to that. I'll plug this all at the end too, and we'll put it in the show notes too.
So last January, 2 weeks before the Houston Half Marathon, my coach made me do what he called the impossible workout. 30 minutes at threshold pace, followed by 1 kilometer of kicking, even faster. All of it at half marathon pace, which for me is about 4:56 per mile.
You had to slide that one in there, didn't you, sir?
My point is that running on frozen roads near my house in Toronto to do this workout sounded daunting, and going to some gym and running on a regular treadmill sounded even worse. Luckily, Michael had a Wahoo Kicker Run treadmill stashed in his home in northern Toronto, and so I took advantage of that last winter.
So that's why you kept coming over to my house all the time.
I mean, I also came for the company.
Sure.
And mainly for the Kicker Run's Run Free mode, where the treadmill uses sensors to adjust its carpet speed so that it can respond to your running speed in real time. So it responds to you, and not the other way around. Now that was helpful for the workout's kick portion, so I could accelerate naturally without having to worry about pressing buttons all the time. The treadmill also comes with the lateral tilt feature, which will simulate the angles of running on a natural terrain. So every step is not the same, which is a good thing. And it's kind of like if you're running outdoors. And bonus, the Kicker Run connects with a laundry list of third-party apps, including Strava, the Wahoo Run app, and Zwift, so you can run free in Watopia.
It's quiet, simple, and effective. The treadmill follows you and not the other way around. It's available in the US, the UK, Germany, and Austria. And now you can get a free Headwind smart fan worth $319 when you order the Kicker Run from Wahoo Fitness using the promo code MHRUN. That's all one word, MHRUN. Take our word for it, as well as the professional athletes that use it, including ultra runner David Roche, triathlete Chelsea Sodero, Olympic gold medalist Cole Hawker.
And now, me!
Okay, let's get to the show. Let's preview this thing, shall we? This New York City Marathon. Okay, so race. We did a whole last year's preview. We did a deep dive on the history, fun factoids, that sort of thing. If you want to scroll way back in the feed and watch a slightly greener, rougher version of Katelyn, Alex, and Michael talking about the New York City Marathon in 2024, by all means do so. It's like I cringe at the idea of watching a podcast episode from a year ago from us, although perhaps I should have more confidence in how we were right off the gate. But so
it's definitely, it's a little noticeable. The lighting is worse. I think that's the main part.
There we go. We've upped the production value of the pod for sure. Okay, so 1970, first edition of the New York City Marathon. They just did laps in Central Park, guys. How fun does that sound?
Not so fun. How long? Well, how long were those laps roughly? How big is Central Park?
You're killing me here. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't have the notes here. We knew this answer 1 year ago.
I know we did, right?
Was it something like 5K, 6K,
okay,
miles?
Okay.
I think it was something like that. I mean, you can do a pretty big loop in Central Park, but Central Park is hilly. If you've ever run there before, you know this. It's very up and down. Not the ideal spot to run a marathon. And also, it's just like a dizzying prospect to run a marathon several loops in one area.
Yes.
So in 76 was the bicentennial of New York City, if I'm not mistaken. So the 200th anniversary. They convinced the city to allow them to touch all 5 boroughs. So, pop quiz. Can you name all 5 boroughs that are touched by every runner in the New York City Marathon in order?
In order.
In order.
Because last year, I remember that Alex and I were just like throwing out random names of places in New York, and we didn't get them all. So Staten Island, it starts on Staten Island. That we know. 1.
That's right.
Brooklyn?
Then, yes.
Alex?
What's north of Brooklyn?
North of Brooklyn. That's a pizza chain here in Toronto, north of Brooklyn. Okay. Staten Island, Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Then it ends in Manhattan.
Right.
3 is Queens, 4 is Bronx, 5 is Manhattan. There we go.
There we go.
Okay. We did it this year, Sierra. We did it.
It only took a year.
There you go. Okay, so that's in 76. And the race was growing exponentially at that point because the very first marathon boom was taking place. The running boom, the jogging boom of the 1970s, as it was called at the time, was taking place. So this marathon basically mirrors the growth of modern distance running as both a recreational sport and also as an elite sport as well. So as of last year set the record for the number of finishers for a marathon at the time at 55,642.
Wow.
It's a lot of humans.
That's a lot of humans.
And that record has since been broken, if I'm not mistaken. Do you guys know which race and what the number is at now that New York's probably aiming for, I'm assuming, in this race?
I can see in Katelyn's eyes that she knows.
Of course, I'm that super nerd who goes and looks up all this stuff. Well, but we know because London and New York have this like rivalry of who has the bigger marathon, right? Because it's been going back and forth and back and forth. So New York had that, but London this year, 56,640 finishers.
So by 1,000.
Yes.
By 1,000, that's a significant amount. That's
a lot.
It's going to get, I want to ask you guys this later when we get into, of course, power ranking the world marathon majors as they stand right now from our entirely subjective vantage points, as to like when is enough? When we're going to hit a ceiling with this? But I'll leave that
I have some
tease for later on.
Yes.
But I would imagine New York likes to be the biggest marathon in the world, right? It perennially is. It's the one that's been setting this bar over the years. And then London and Berlin have kind of gotten into the action as well in recent years by growing, and Chicago is massive this fall as well. So they're all sort of 55,000 plus finisher races. So do you guys
Where are more people going to go? Where are they going to fit? How are they going to transport more people? It seems insane. They're going to be having waves starting at 1 PM at this point.
They'll be like,
right?
You've signed up for the Monday version of the race. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I assume this is going to go 56 high, 57,000 people maybe. Curious to see if this will be the new record. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll definitely push out an Instagram post on that if that record gets broken. So it's one of the 7 world marathon majors. Got to remind myself of that. I keep wanting to say 6.
Doesn't roll off the tongue just yet.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't. No.
Lucky 7. It is the 7th. It is one of the crown jewels of the world. If you were to like, we're going to power rank them later, but if you were to, if you were to create like a world marathon majors finals, it's like, what is the championship race? I think New York and Boston would sort of be vying for that title, I think.
Yeah. Well,
as
not to
like
spoil
important piece in the puzzle, right?
Yeah. But we always have New York, Boston, and London in some type of formation in our top 3.
Yeah, we do.
Not to spoil or influence any changes in your subjective rankings, but
so yeah, it's the last race. It's the last major of the year, at least for now. And we'll talk about future entries as well, I think, when we start talking about power ranking the world marathon majors, because New York is often the place where the next world marathon major has been announced in the past. That's a tease as well.
Okay.
Yeah, something to pick your brains about in a little bit here. Why do you guys think that, I mean, maybe this is just such an obvious question, but like, why do you think that this race has become so prestigious?
I mean, other than the fact that it's so massively huge, and I feel like, and I know this happens, of course, in the other races as well, but to me, just thinking about the experience of having New York City shut down so you can go run through it just seems like such a unique, incredible experience as to where you can't imagine a city that works at such magnitude with so many people walking through it every day shut down. So I think just the growth right? The growth starting out, like you said, in 1970 with just that many people doing loops around Central Park and turning into this massive event that shuts down the entire city and has everyone just focused on this one activity, on this one marathon. I just think it makes it really, really special. And why compared to the other races? I'm not quite sure, but New York just has that ring to it. And Michael, you've said it so many times. It's your favorite marathon. Sorry, not to spoil the rankings. It's your favorite marathon. It has such an incredible experience, and you feel like you can only get that experience in New York City. So it's just grown its own legacy between the size, the spectators, the shutdown of the city. All of that for me seems like reasons why New York has this huge legacy and everyone wants to get there.
Yeah, I've seen 3 things shut New York City down. A global pandemic, whatever happened in I Am Legend with Will Smith, and the New York City Marathon. And
I think it's type of global pandemic with that movie.
Right. That was zombies, right? I was like,
yes.
second guessing myself because it's been like 10 years, and a lot has happened on the Will Smith file since then to overwrite my memories of him. But
moving along.
So I think it's just numbers too, right? Mm-hmm. So many people live in New York, want to do New York, and people want to travel to New York. It's like you do the marathon, then you stay for a couple of days and do those New York things that you've always wanted to do.
It's like 160 countries, right? 160 different, and I'm sorry if I'm incorrect with the number, but that's something that I read, that the international, like the people coming from out of the country to come run New York, there are like over 100 and something nationalities participating. And I think that's just incredible to have that diversity in the marathon.
You might even see somebody from North Korea running the New York City Marathon. It is that international. Maybe not. I don't know.
And it's our job to find them and interview them.
Do you want to stay here? Yeah. So, okay, let's pivot out of geopolitics here. So it is that. It is the true. The first time I went to New York for the marathon, I was told that in advance. It's like, this is the truly international race, and you experience it in every little way. It's like you get into the elevator in your hotel and you're going up to your room, and like it's jam-packed with other runners, and there's like, 10 different languages being spoken in the elevator at the same time, right?
Yep.
It is the target race for runners around the world. It's the first race, if I'm not mistaken, to have a lottery ballot to gain entry because of that level of popularity. They've had a lottery system in place for the better part of 15 years now, where it's a newer thing with some of these other marathons, right, in the last few years. So massive race. At least 2 to 2.5 million people in New York City come out and watch the race, which is bananas. The New Yorkers, who are famously they'll tell you what they're thinking. New Yorkers,
honest, let's say,
curt, honest people, also are deeply passionate about this race and stop everything to celebrate this race. This race is a holiday for New Yorkers. It is an important part of their identity, an important day in the year, which cannot be said for a lot of other very big races and marathons around the world. Mm-hmm. So it's special. It is the one race definitely where you can like strut around. Boston's like this too. You can strut around with the medal on all day afterwards, and like you're going to walk into a bar and they're going to make sure you got a good seat, even though it's like everyone else in the room is a medal
also has a medal.
Yeah. Definitely one of those experiences. Okay. So with that 55,000 plus people, logistics are kind of crazy for this race. As you mentioned, Katelyn, the race starts in Staten Island because this sort of to honor this tradition of touching all 5 boroughs of the city. They have to figure out a way that you can run starting in Staten Island, which is an island. So it starts technically on the island, but it's staged on the island at a historic military facility. It's like basically a historic plot of land at this point where it's all staged, where you hang out and wait for the race to start, and then they move you in corrals and waves on to the bridge. Help me out, Katelyn. You're a resident Italian here.
Oh,
I
no.
always screw up the name of the bridge that moves you from Staten Island to the Bronx, to Brooklyn rather.
It starts on, I would think that it was the Verrazano.
The Verrazano Narrows Bridge. Verrazano Narrows.
Verrazano Narrows, yeah.
I always mess that one up. So you technically start on the bridge. It's kind of cheating because it's like, you don't really start in Staten Island. I guess if you count the bridge as part of Staten Island, it's really one of the signature starts in all of sports, really, in all of any sport. It's like you line up on that bridge. There's helicopters overhead. They play Sinatra's New York, New York, Fire the Cannon, and the way you go running over this giant bridge. It's
up a
crazy.
hill just to start.
Yeah.
Before then, what's your advice on how to get there and win? This is like making me anxious.
Giving you anxiety.
Yeah. Like, so this being a runner who's come from the track where the start is at a given time and there are maybe 12 other runners walking to the start line, these major races always make me so freaking nervous in the starts of them after seeing them. So you've done it a bunch of times. What's like, runner wakes up in the morning, what do you do? How do you get to the start line with enough time ready? Are you wearing weird clothes like you are in Boston? What's the MO?
Well, even though the race starts at the start time's like the wave one and the elite start just after 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, a local time. So
kind of late, but later in the year, so it won't get too hot. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully. Weather's usually pretty cool in New York. More of a worry for like nasty inclement weather, like wind and rain, more so than heat.
It just happens.
Although they've had warm, sunny days in New York. But it's an early morning. I'd say it rivals Boston in terms of kookiness of the logistics. Katelyn, you just went through that earlier this year, where it's you've got to like put on all kinds of throwaways.
And I made a lot of mistakes. So I definitely want, for you to give us like good advice on what to do. I think it's really important for the runners who have not done those logistics before to be so smart about that whole situation and like nutrition and hydration, because you're out there a lot of hours with nothing except what's on you before you start. So like how long is that? Is it like that? Because what did we spend, guys?
A couple hours.
A few hours, yeah. Okay.
And if you're a later wave, you're a few hours.
Yeah.
Now, New York is a well-oiled machine. It's actually remarkable watching how just how efficient they are with their organization, how good the New York Roadrunners who run the race are at orchestrating this whole thing on race morning. You will be assigned and you will have chosen where it is that you're going to go and get a bus to get to Staten Island. And they have this like fleet of like, I don't know, is it hundreds? It's got to be hundreds.
Has to be.
Of tour buses, effectively, to take you to Staten Island. And I actually, my wife ran the race last year, and so out of curiosity, I just kind of followed her along. And I've done this race before myself, so I've had this experience. And in her case, she went to the pickup was by the Central Library, and basically they tell you where to go. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you will get a detailed email in advance from the race that explains to you the whole process and which time slot you've been assigned to based on your wave and corral. You just follow those instructions, but plan for a very early and very long day. It doesn't mean that it's going to sabotage your opportunity to run well. I know many runners who have run very well in this race, even though it has a lot of logistics to it. I say my pro tips are definitely, just like with Boston, and really any race where you're going to have to be at the start line well in advance, bring lots of throwaway clothes, like wear huge, big, oversized sweater, windbreaker, mitts, winter hat, sweatpants, stuff that you're okay with giving away they do take in throwaways at the start line. You can, I believe, walk right up to the start line with a big sweater on and just like pull it off and chuck it off in the chute. It's one of the great scenes that you're going to experience standing on that bridge, is seeing these sweaters and throwaway long sleeves and hats flying left and right. Definitely do that. Definitely bring something with you to eat and drink. Perhaps plan for, like think about your long runs, which are all just practice for the marathon. You do, I do 3 hours before my long run and 3 hours before a marathon. I start getting the nutrition in, fueling, bring your bagel in a little bag or whatever, and a cup of coffee and your sport drink or water, whatever it is that you like to take in advance, and strategically take that in when you're at the fort out in, is it Fort Wadsworth? I'm going off the top of my head here, like trying to remember the name of this. I don't have it in front of the notes in front of me right now. The fort where you're camping out, waiting for the start of the race. And so that's the move. And then my other pro tip, and I've said this before and you guys have laughed at me.
We have? How dare you?
A little piece of cardboard.
Oh.
Or a tiny chair of some kind.
No, you're hedging now. It used to be a chair. Now it's a piece of cardboard.
Well, I mean, or a clever move is you bring like the New York Times, and maybe like a weekend Times, like I guess it would be the previous weekend.
A thick one.
Times, the thick one, the big guy.
Right.
Bring that with you, and that gives you a little bit of padding, and also gives you a little bit of a remove from sitting on the cold ground. Right. You want to be off your feet sitting down, but you also don't want to be freezing your ass off on cold ground, right?
Follow along for more use cases for buying the New York Times in 2025.
Guys, there you go.
I can't even remember the last time. You guys just gave, like, it was a throwback, thinking about when we used to get the Sunday Boston Globe on the weekends, and it was this huge thick newspaper with all the coupons in it. I remember this clearly.
Coupons.
I can't remember the last time I bought a newspaper. That's
Come on, Katelyn.
That's insane.
Support independent journalism.
Yes,
I do. It's Michael Barbaro in my ears now. I still support it.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go.
So
you can't sit on the app. You can't sit on the New York Times app and wait for the race to start for 3 hours.
You could do Wordle pre-race to get your mind wandering away from the pain that you're about to endure.
The anxiety.
Right. It doesn't sound like a bad idea, actually.
It's not too bad. Do the crossword.
Yeah. I'm going to ask the question everyone is thinking, but no one is going to ask. What's the bathroom situation like once you get there?
No, great question, and probably the only question.
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You get that sorted out before the start of the race, you've won the race already.
That's
in your
right.
own mind. Remarkably good from my memory and from all reports from the last year, because obviously I didn't run the race. I covered the race last year, but from what I heard, it was a decent situation with the lineups not being too dramatic. But that changes depending on the wave, depending on how many people in the immediate area, where you line up, at what time you decide to time all of this. But that said, it's fairly well organized, all things considering the fact that we're dealing with 55, 56, maybe 60,000 people at the start, because, not everyone who starts the New York City Marathon finishes it. Right? So, but I would say pretty good, but I would definitely recommend, as you are the huddled masses there in Staten Island, with all of your throwaways on, attempting to keep your body heat trapped and keep your mind from going completely nuts, I would definitely have an eye on the porta potty situation and choose your moment when you want to line up for that, for sure. Because that's just one of the things about these major marathons, right? One of the crazy logistic things is you and 55,000 other people need a poop. So,
we were just insinuating that. But there you have it, folks.
Said
the reality.
Quiet part out loud. All right. You guys want to take a quick break and then we'll get into the actual race itself?
Yep.
Let's do it.
And then after that, we'll do Elite Fields, which I'm so psyched for because this is such a good race.
It's just getting
both
better.
The women's and the men's. So good. And well done, New York. Well done. And then, of course, I'm going to force you guys to power rank The World Marathon Majors. All right. We'll
See, this is why we wanted a week break, but fine.
Come on.
So far, 2025 has been the best running year of my life. I've had 3 personal bests in the 5K, the 10K, and the half marathon. And I don't think the secret is that complicated. I just haven't been getting injured. I think a big reason for that is that I've started to take my post-run hour much more seriously. So instead of sitting on the couch, eating empty snacks, and watching reruns of The Office, I've been taking Momentous creatine. So it's become a bit of a habit. I take it after my run. I like their flavorless white creatine powder. It dissolves in a glass of water. Sometimes I put it in a recovery beverage, and I have it after the run. I've never been a huge supplements guy, but with the Momentous creatine, there's no fear. It's NSF certified. It's used by a bunch of pro athletes, also every NFL team, and even the US military. Now, my goals are probably a little bit different from those of your classic infantry officer. I take it to help my muscles recover so that I'm ready for the next day's run. And bonus, we're also learning that creatine may be fuel for the brain. And so I like to think that it helps me stay sharp for this podcast and ensures that I always have something to respond to Katelyn and her wild facts and Michael and his sarcastic jokes. Right now, Momentous is offering our listeners up to 35% off their first subscription order with promo code Marathon. So go to livemomentous.com and use promo code Marathon for up to 35% off your first subscription order. That's livemomentous.com, promo code Marathon. Back to the show.
All right, we're back. New York City Marathon course. Yeah. In a phrase, not easy, but not impossible to run well on. That would be my take. That would be my read of this course. It's my experience.
Give me a highlight and low light.
That's good. Highlights are definitely the start. It's just bizarre. You feel like you're in a movie. It's a very strange way to start a race on a bridge that you're not supposed to be on as a pedestrian, hundreds of feet in the air. As I said before, with like Black Hawk helicopters flying in the air, it feels a little post-apocalyptic, I'll be honest.
So it is I Am Legend.
It is I Am Legend with
55,000 of your closest
other
friends.
Legends.
5
right.
legends. Vampires just yet. And that's incredible. It's an incredible experience. I recommend you take it in, take a moment, because it is quite a moment. And then I would say, well, we can get right into this here, but like you enter into Brooklyn. So it's the steepest point of the course. You get it away right away, which is wonderful. The toughest hill in the New York City Marathon is the bridge at the start. Once you crest the bridge, then you rip down the bottom. You know, like you got to get off the bridge. You're going down fast, and that's a quick kilometer or so. You're gonna eyeball a very fast split. It's gonna be exciting. You know, keep it cool, and then you enter into Brooklyn, and it's a mixed bag for the next little while in Brooklyn. There's a kind of a quiet stretch. There's a like a Hasidic Jewish neighborhood that you run through, and like they couldn't give a shit about the fact that the New York City Marathon is going on, right? So it's like it is a very kind of like it's an odd experience where you're like there's this community of people that are just kind of like ignoring you and like, oh yeah, the New York City Marathon, we're coming through here, thousands of us, and it's like it's like the kids.
Is that like a quiet? Is that like a quiet part of the race?
Stretch.
Okay, okay. At least it's starting out. So
yeah, and but that. I would embrace this section because it allows you to just kind of like calm down and cruise. And it's actually design wise really nice for marathon running because running through Brooklyn, while not flat and not straight and turnless, there are quite a few turns, is like little turns and like ebbs and flows of the streets. Because you're running through a city, is a good spot for you to get settled down, and you're spending quite a bit of time in this stretch, right? Your first 10 miles you're running through Brooklyn. It's a big stretch. And that's where you get an opportunity to really settle down.
I ran through this part last month, fun fact, and can confirm they do not give a shit.
Yeah. And that's cool. That's the way things are, man. Yeah. I mean, listen, you run other marathons around the world, and it's just like people out there being like, oh, why are you running through my streets right now? Okay. Oh, there's a marathon happening. Yes. Yeah, so it's probably the quietest stretch of the entire race. Once upon a time, the Bronx was considered pretty quiet as well, but there's cheer stations have popped up there as well, which is awesome. And enjoy it. Enjoy this because it's going to get just crazier and crazier, especially as you enter Manhattan. It just gets absolutely nuts. So we won't do a complete like blow by blow breakdown of the course. We actually have a video. I'll put it in the show notes. We did a breakout video last year from the preview pod where we went into granular detail of this course, and we'll post that again. We actually, I believe, added like a map as well, got fancy with it. But yeah, basically I would say low light, Alex, for a lot of people. I didn't find this personally, but low light for a lot of people is Queensboro Bridge.
Mile 15, right? Somewhere around there. Yep.
Race is starting to get real there.
Yeah, of course.
And there's a little bit of a dig to get up and over it because it's a bridge. There's a lot of bridges in this race. Bridges are like engineer designed hills.
Yeah, they're hills.
Got to go up, got to go down.
And wind exposure.
Yeah, a little bit of that. And it's just at a grindy point in the race. Things start to stretch out a little bit. People go silent. A lot of like quiet footsteps marching over the Queensboro Bridge. That's the enduring memory of that. And then you enter into Manhattan, and that's when you really have to focus. And I would say there's some challenging stretches through Manhattan as well. Obviously, just because you're in the last 10 miles of a marathon, or 8 miles of a marathon, but there's a big, long grind back towards Central Park, which is home base finishing area for the marathon, but it's a long way to go. You've got to run the east side of the park, and it's a little like just slight grade up all the way before you enter the park. And that's when you start to see the wheels come off with a lot of runners, and that's really where you need to focus. So I would say that those are probably the two like low lights, if there's such a thing, in a race where you're basically just getting constant support and it's just absolutely incredible. The highlights are coming off the bridge, and there's just this wall of people, and then entering into Manhattan, and then running down all the way down to the south part of the park, and then back in, and finishing in Central Park is extraordinary. I mean, there's so many highlights of this race, it's hard to touch upon just one, but the highlights definitely outweigh the low moments that are constructed based on the fact that this course is not easy.
And Michael, what do you do when you're running a marathon and it's a tricky one like New York or like Boston? In this case, we want to focus on New York, and you've got those bridges and you've got those hills. What's your strategy? Are you one of those runners who pulls it back a little bit on the uphill and then rips it on the downhill, or do you try to stay consistent throughout the hills?
I try to stay consistent.
You do? Okay.
Because a marathon is such a long, 26 miles. It's such a long physical, mental, emotional experience. I think trying to quote unquote bank time at any point in a race is a suicidal move. And there's no banking in the marathon. You pay it back.
I know.
You pay it back with interest, right?
Yes.
And the interest it's like a payday loan. You're paying it back with like a 30% interest rate at the end. So
right.
I would not suggest trying to rip down the hills. I would just flow through it. I have said this, I think I said this in the preview pod last year, which is The New York course is kind of like a 26-mile paved cross-country race course in that it's like what makes cross-country running so much fun but so challenging is that it's weaving and undulating. There's a lot of ups and downs, and you're using all your muscle groups to get through the race. This is the marathon version of that, except it's got a nice layer of asphalt just slapped down on top.
And it's long. So my university cross-country coach's advice may not apply here with the hills, which was get up the hill and then go hard for 50 meters to discourage your competitors.
I mean, you could do that. And then you're going to discourage yourself for the next hour.
Yeah, that's why the marathon is longer than 8 to 10 kilometers. So maybe not.
Yeah.
Just I have a mantra when I'm running hills. I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I don't think so. Up and over, up and over, up and over. That's just that's what I tell myself every time I see a hill. Up and over. That's it.
Nice.
And I just go.
Where were you for my hill workouts this year? Yeah. My mantra was a 4-letter word that I uttered a bunch of times.
I think up and over, you could apply that sort of like metaphorically to so many things in life.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I would say one strategy I employ when I'm trying to figure out pacing, because it's such a tricky thing with a race like New York. Boston's similar as well. You're trying to, it's not a flat course. So you can't just you can't write down a finishing time, do the math and be like, I am going to run this pace per mile or per kilometer.
Right.
And stick to it and have the nice little pacing bracelet, or just have the number written on your hand or just imprinted in your brain where you're like, I did all this marathon pace work at this minutes per mile pace. With New York, what I recommend you do is you create like a bucket that you want to make sure you're in. No faster than this, no slower than that, right? Just a window where it's like, maybe it's a 30-second, depending if you're doing miles or kilometers, maybe it's a 30-second variation. That allows you to be self-confident when you're marching up that hill and you're like going up you're climbing up to get into the Queensboro Bridge, and you're like looking at your watch and you're like, I'm dropping down to 5 minutes a kilometer or something like that. And you start panicking. You're like, but I have to be at 4:30 or 4:20 or whatever your pace is that you're fixated on that day. Just allows you that window to operate within. So you kind of keep it cool. You don't push too hard to work your way through it, because there's a lot of variation, and GPS is decent for most of the race from what I can remember, but you're in New York City. There's a lot of big buildings, and there's a lot of other people wearing a GPS watch. So you might not have the most accurate reading per mile or per kilometer.
Even in Toronto at the marathon, that was a problem. People relying too much on their GPS watch had them go all out of whack. And reality is, Toronto's a big, tall city. And so imagine New York. So yeah, you need to be able to divorce yourself from that immediate feedback.
And look at the mile markers. And what about situations or places specific where you could find any bottlenecking, like a lot of crowds? Did you ever feel like there were just too many people and you kind of had to adjust your pace based on the crowds, or do the waves kind of work that out for you and you don't feel boxed in anywhere?
The waves work it out to a degree. However, there's a lot of people on this course. And I would say the biggest issues with bottlenecking actually come at the very start, which is, I think, in a weird way, we've talked about this with Chicago as well, which has a very similar issue where the very beginning of this race, just a lot of humans trying to get through the same little spot. And the bridge in New York where you start has a stanchion in the middle of it. So you got to run on one side or the other of the road. And you just pick your line. I wouldn't stress too much in the first couple of opening kilometers. And as I said, like, you go up and then you go down. So you're going to be running very quickly on the way down. It's actually almost like with the Boston Marathon, Katelyn. It's like you almost have to like hold yourself back.
Right.
That's really the opening couple of kilometers are, I feel, the most bottlenecked. And then you're going to hit the odd bottleneck depending on where you are in the race. The overall average finishing time for a race like New York is probably around 4+ hours, right? Like 4:05, 4:10, 4:15.
I think last year the average finishing time was 4:35.
Right. Okay. So it's even, because it's a sea of humanity, right?
Of course.
So you're going to see a big swell of people around that 4 to 4.5 hour mark. If you're in that ballpark, you're going to be dealing with more humans. And just have a bit of patience and have faith that you can get your line and get moving and get your rhythm going. First couple kilometers of a marathon are not throwaway, but are not. Don't panic if you're not like nailing your pace, right? Those are the only real bottleneck issues. Entering and exiting bridges is always going to be a little bit of a choke point as well. But that's about it. And you're just going to have to work your way through Central Park at the end. When you come through Columbus Circle and hook your way back up and you're going north in Central Park to go towards Tavern on the Green where the finishing area is, there's a lot of people there. And you're going to see a lot of people in various states of agony and ecstasy. And just hopefully you're the latter, not the former, and work your way through those people at that point. Okay, so we've covered logistics. We've talked a little bit about the course. We've talked a little bit about the eccentricities of the New York City Marathon. You guys want to take a quick break and then we'll get into why we are so excited about the elite fields?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The elite fields are going to be a banger. All right, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let's do the women's elite field first. Sound like a plan?
Yes. Got it.
It's like picking between children. Like, what's your favorite?
This year, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Okay, so let's set the table here. I'm eyeballing like 3 really strong storylines here.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Do we have the same 3 or have our minds finally converged?
I also have some storylines that might be different. This should be fun. Okay.
Alex, what's your number one storyline?
Number one
side.
Oh, I don't have a number one. There are 3 that are equally good. Maybe I'll start with Sifan Hassan versus the New York City Marathon record.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
That's such a good one.
Yeah.
Sifan Hassan could do 2 historic things at this race. One is, it seems like a given, at least on paper, it's break the course record, which now is a long-standing record. It's 22 years old. The time, 2 hours, 22 minutes, 31 seconds. Sifan Hassan has run almost 10 minutes faster than that time.
This is sick. Yeah.
So just 2:13:44. No big deal.
No big deal. So you would think that this would be offered to her on a silver platter. She can also do something else that's pretty remarkable, and based on my research has never happened, partly because the majors were not as populated. There weren't as many major marathons in the past up until this year when Sydney became one. If she not only wins, but if she wins a medal, she finishes in the top 3, she could become I believe, the first woman or man to podium in 3 major marathons in 1 year.
Right.
She finished 3rd in London in April. She won Sydney in August, and here she is with New York. And we've come to know Sifan Hassan as someone who takes insane swings, like doing 3 separate races at the Olympics and medaling in all 3. It is her thing. It would be on brand. But also, I think that given the new schedule of the majors, it's not even, it's an incredible thing to podium 3 times, but I wouldn't even say that it's that crazy to do 3 races. Like, she did it pretty smartly, right? She raced in April, took a couple months to rebuild, raced in August. Now we're getting to be, well, I guess really 2 months post Sydney, because it was late August. This marathon is in early November. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, but it's also Sifan Hassan. So I could see her making history in those 2 ways. She breaks the record, and also she podiums in all 3, setting a new consistency record in the majors that maybe other people will then try to emulate or even beat. So
yeah,
that's my top story. But I think there's a second story too, and like in any good sitcom, they will converge near the end. I don't think we could. This is also not just like a Sifan Hassan show, because we have a long-standing rivalry between the two best known runners of American major marathons. Like, this is getting really niche, but like Sharon Lokedi and Helen Obiri have had chapters and chapters of a rivalry up until the end of races in Boston and New York. And this is chapter 7. This is chapter 7. And usually they battle for the win, but neither of them, I think, have taken down Sifan Hassan in a major marathon like this before.
Yeah, I think that this was the big storyline when the elite field was announced back in August, and you guys had a conversation about this. The big storyline was Lokedi and Obiri, right? Because they just keep going back and forth, and they are both, I think something important about this, they are both really good tactical runners where they run hard races and they win and they do well in hard races. Hard races, what do I mean? Boston and New York, right? And I mean that as in opposed to an extremely pancake flat race, where someone like Sifan Hassan, she has this incredible speed. So now Sifan Hassan decided to get thrown in the mix, and she throws a wrench into the works for Lokedi and Obiri, because they've got the experience of being incredibly good at difficult races. I know that Michael usually calls these championship style races where you're not thinking about that extremely flat time trial, right? You're thinking about being smart about getting a podium position or winning a race, because they're not a race where you think you'll hit a world record, right? Or break a world record. So having Sifan Hassan in the mix is going to make this rivalry, because you've got the rivalry, but then you've got Sifan Hassan. So now she just threw a wrench in the works for them. And it'll be so interesting to see if she beats them both, or if they come out and say, oh no, we've got experience in this race. We know how to manage New York better than you do. So I wonder if they'll overtake her because of that. You guys know I'm a huge Sifan Hassan fan. I can't wait to see her at the press conference. So of course oh boy, there we go.
Can you sign my alpha flies?
Exactly. Well, I won't embarrass you guys. I will not embarrass you guys, of course. But I'm a super fan of Sifan Hassan. And the second that she got announced that she was going to be at the race, I was like, wow, this is going to be such a banger. They're going to be fighting it out. And we haven't even mentioned all of the competitors on the women's side yet who have a chance.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't help but to think that, like, when the initial elite fields were announced back in, I believe it was August, and we did a video on that, you know, I was very excited about the Sharon Lokedi versus Helen Obiri throwdown, and mixing in Sheila Chepkarui in there, who won the race last year. So you've got the last 3 champions going head to head, and they're all peak of their powers. They're all so capable right now. And then, God damn it, Sifan Hassan just has to decide, you know what? That Sydney Marathon win was a amuse-bouche for the main course of New York for me. And I'm going to airdrop myself into this elite field and just cause havoc. Like this course, this race, New York, no pacers, up and down course, twisty, turny, lots of potential for drama. It's got Sifan Hassan written all over it, New York. She's like born to run this race in particular.
You mentioned it, Michael. Do you even remember in August?
I don't. Yeah.
Oh, in August, you were talking about Lokedi and Obiri, and you said, and imagine if Sifan Hassan, it's too bad that Sifan Hassan and Tigist Assefa aren't also running this race, just to like go further. And then I was thinking of that when she got announced. So you had a feeling. You had a feeling.
I forsaged, I prophesized it.
You did.
I willed it into being. I used The Secret to make it a reality.
Wow, what a reference. Shout out to
you like that one?
Rhonda Byrne and The Secret.
That's a 2000s reference for you, big guy.
One of the first books I ever read, weirdly enough.
Oh, that's a weird reveal. You must have been like a teenager? How old were you when you read The Secret?
I was like 11. Our English teacher presented it as the book that's going to change this generation. So I was like, oh, okay. And
thank God it didn't.
Didn't do much for me.
No. The secret is there isn't one, just like with running. But yeah, so Hassan, we won't do picks yet. We won't prognosticate quite yet. But I'm really curious to hear. Actually, a secondary pick would be like Hassan versus the field. That's a tough decision, right? But yeah, this is going to be a great race. And we should not overlook Emily Sisson.
That's story number 3.
Mm-hmm.
There we
Alex, go.
Yeah. Story time. Emily Sisson, go. Tell us a tale.
The tale of Emily Sisson is, I feel like I've slighted her on this podcast quite a few times because I am on the record. Yeah, I'm on the record saying that American marathoning, especially on the women's side, given Conor Mance's ascension in the last few months, is being left behind on the world stage. Even disregarding Ruth Chepngetich, our best marathoners far and away are not American. And that's happened in much of recent history, but it's felt to me that in the last, say, 5 years, there is a massive divide between the up and coming American marathoning women and the top women marathoners in the world. And Emily Sisson might be the slight exception to that. And I think that at this race, she might become the clear exception to that. There is a buildup with her. She's a New Balance athlete, one of the few New Balance marathoners who are knocking on the door of very meaningful and significant records around the world and big wins. She hasn't had the chance to do New York yet. If memory serves, her plan was to do it in 2020, and then obviously the pandemic happened, and so there wasn't a marathon. And so this is kind of a homecoming of sorts for her. I think it might also be an opportunity for New Balance to flex whatever new gear they have. I'm going to be really curious to see what's on her feet. Mm-hmm. New Balance is one of those brands that has a massive footprint on the world of running, but that hasn't quite yet cracked the super shoe game.
See what he did there? Footprint. Well done, Alex.
That was unintended. And I think this could be, I like, not to get too shoe nerdy right now, but I think most major shoe brands have now put their card in the game. Even Hoka now apparently has this prototype super shoe that might upend things. Puma's come out of seemingly nowhere with a world-beating super shoe. I think this is an opportunity for New Balance and also for Emily Sisson to really put their hat in the ring. And I mean, hey, she's run a 2:18. Is it 2:18 mid? There we go. 2:18 29. 23.
That's the American record.
That's the American record. Hey, that's faster than New York City Marathon record. We'll predict these things. I don't think Emily Sisson is going to win the race flat out. She's got some massive dragons to slay, but hey, wouldn't that be a cool thing if she broke the record and we could say there's an American who's now run much faster than anyone has ever run at the New York City Marathon prior to 2025. That means something too. And so I think this is served on a silver platter for her. She's going to have a bunch of world-class athletes to chase. She's a world-class athlete herself. Some sparks could fly.
I think that this is just a spectacular opportunity for Emily Sisson. Think about this. She is the current American record holder. She set that record in 2022. She finished second in the Chicago Marathon, arguably her best performance of her career, finishing just behind Ruth Chepngetich, who is now the disgraced doper. Alex, you and I just discussed this recently. She missed her moment in retrospect to win a marathon major. She's a New Balance athlete, as you mentioned, Alex. This is a New Balance race. She wanted to run New York in 2020, didn't get the opportunity. She's getting to run New York now. A American has won this race in the last decade. Shalane Flanagan, famously, in 2017, I believe it was. This is a moment for Emily Sisson to define her career with a full exclamation, like multiple exclamation marks. And I wonder how her training's been going. I imagine, she's an extremely talented athlete. She's somebody who's at 34, I think, still capable of lowering her own American record. She's obviously not going to do that here because this is not a record eligible scenario. But man, this feels like an opportunity for her. But the question is going to be, what happens at the very front of this race? What happens? How does Sifan Hassan, Lokedi, Kipchoge, Obiri, and company pace this thing out? Do they allow someone like Emily Sisson in the race? They might. And Emily Sisson is a 2:18 runner. She theoretically should be there in that lead group for the first half of this race. One other storyline I would say in the women's field to keep an eye on is kind of a series of comebacks and ascensions and success stories in the American side, in the American field. Let me rattle off a few names for you guys. The ageless Sarah Hall is running. She's our girl, Katelyn. She's our contemporary, 40 plus.
Nice.
Go Masters athlete.
Go.
We should note the World Championships for the age group World Championships in the marathon are taking place in New York. So theoretically, Sarah Hall could be an age group champion. She's always in the mix. She'll be there. Susanna Sullivan, double dipping here. She ran the World Championships, got a lot of TV time, ran really hard from the front in that World Championships and that crazy, soggy, sweaty, hot day in Tokyo. Curious to see what she's got left in the tank. Fiona O'Keefe in just her third
right? Yeah.
marathon. She stunned the world, certainly the American distance running world, by winning the U.S. Olympic trials in 2024 in Orlando with a really astonishing 2:22 debut marathon. She's had some injury history, some injury issues since then. She started the Olympic marathon with quite a bit of controversy, barely ran it, had a very severe injury, obviously. This is her big comeback. Really interested to see what she does there. Molly Seidel, speaking of injuries, she's back. She's amazing. She's an incredible personality in the American distance running scene. Curious to see how she does. She could be in the mix. She's great at these championship style races. She's got an Olympic medal to prove it. Sarah Vaughn, she was 6th last year in New York, top American. So she knows how to run this course as well. Annie Frisbee, an American who's run 2:23 as well, will be looking to perform also. Anything else on the women's side before we move on, guys?
Oh, Alex is co racer. Right? From your 10K.
That's so generous. That's so generous to call Eilish McColgan my co-anything, but she's doing her second marathon. So Commonwealth Games champ, a star on the track for Great Britain, 5K, 10K predominantly. Now she's in the marathons. Her debut was 2:24. If memory serves, it was a bit of a positive split. I'm guessing that she'll try to likely bring that time down. Again, not sure if that happens in New York, but world-class talent now taken to the marathon. So if I talked about the women's field in vain a little bit in Chicago, this is the complete opposite. The Chicago field was a little watered down, felt a little bit hungover from last year's Chep and Gettich party, which is now disgraced. This year's women's field New York City Marathon is one of the best I think ever assembled.
It's going to be so exciting. When we do our watch along show, you can guarantee that we are going to be giving at least equal time to the women's race. I hope that the broadcast does the same. It's often an issue.
I hope they cooperate.
Yeah, but we will be all over that. Okay, let's pivot to the men's field. The men's field. This, you stare at the elite field, the men's side, it sort of feels like it's up for grabs here. And there's a lot of interesting names.
There's no one clear winner.
Let's get this out of the way right off the top. There's the giant, the titan that outweighs all of this almost unfairly for the rest of the field is, along with Sifan Hassan, and like this co-announcement.
Yes. And they both ran Sydney. And then both announced they were coming to New York.
Eliud Kipchoge, the man, the myth, the legend. He's bringing the sideshow to New York. I fully expect the presence of Eliud Kipchoge in New York is going to be ridiculous. I've been to a marathon major where Kipchoge was a headliner when he was sort of at his early peak, and he just kind of takes over the marathon media cycle. Like, even if he is no longer, I'm curious to hear your takes, even if he is no longer the inarguable favorite in a race, his presence is just so dominating that you're going to get people like, you're going to get Kipchoge sightings in Manhattan throughout the weekend. You're going to see people taking selfies with the guy. He's like a beetle. It's like the Beatles.
And like
an insect, but like a pop star. He's
John or Paul, definitely.
Oh yeah, who is Kipchoge? Which beetle is Kipchoge? Didn't expect myself to answer this question.
I haven't thought about
today.
that. Yeah,
the Beatles. So the Beatles are actually Eliud Kipchoge and Katelyn Tocci are John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Kenny. Kipchoge is so Paul McCartney. What am I even saying? He is Paul
100%
McCartney.
the star of the show. But I think that's going to be this big. You're right, Michael. It's going to be like the subplot at the marathon that could end up taking over, because you don't only have Kipchoge, but now they've also announced that Bekele is also going to run. So you've got like the two legends of going back and forth for the most fastest marathon times. And not only that, but Kipchoge is going to receive his Abbott World Marathon Majors 6 or 7 star medal.
Oh my God.
Okay. This is another headline.
That's going to be a big thing. That's going to be a thing.
That's a thing because he's running now his last marathon major to complete the cycle. This is a big deal.
He's going to become one of the first people. Wait a minute. Is he going? No, he's not going to be the first person to finish all set. I had a moment there. I was like, he's the fastest guy. He'll be the fastest guy in the field to finish. It's like, no, there were people in Australia and Sydney that finished the 7th. That became their 7th because they'd already done New York, but Kipchoge has not done New York. It was a question we asked, I believe, our colleague Jesse and I, when we did the Instant Reaction podcast after Sydney. That was one of the questions I asked, because it was not known yet that he was going to run New York. Was like, okay, the Kipper has done 6 of 7. He has long stated that he was going to do all the majors. Like, when's he doing New York? Kind of feels like he was like avoiding New York, right?
Right.
And now he's doing it. He's tearing off the Band-Aid. He's getting her done. The photo op for him getting the dinner plate, the 6-star medal.
That's what I'm talking about. That's going to take over.
But does he already have this? Oh, man. No, he doesn't have the 6-star medal because this is one of the 6 stars, right?
The original 6 stars, right.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot around. So there we go. We've already, men's elite field, we've already lost the script here. We're not even talking about who's going to win the race. We're talking about Eliud Kipchoge getting a medal.
And the first time he's going to run 3 marathons in 1 year, which is an interesting fun fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's only ever run a spring and a fall, right? So this is the first time he's going to do 3.
This man is disciplined, and he's going for it now. The window, I guess, it's closing. It's closing.
It's closing. Can I get ahead of the script here for a second? Because I think I know I think I know what's going to happen. So there's going to be Eliud Kipchoge, and he's not alone in this. Let's include Katelyn Tocci, one of the greatest of all times. We've wanted a Kipchoge versus Bekele battle when both were in the peak of their powers for years. It didn't quite happen. They're a little bit past that point now. We'll see it in a way. What's going to happen in New York is that we'll have a bunch of media outlets, not us, let's hope, that will paint this race as like, hey, is it going to be Benson Kipruto, Abdi Nagiye, or Eliud Kipchoge, or Evans Jabet, or Katelyn Bekele who's going to win? And then I don't know who's going to win, but it won't be Kipchoge, it won't be Bekele, because they're past that point in their career. And then there will be these stories about, oh, Kipchoge chokes in New York and Bekele chokes as well.
Which is unfair.
This is not, it's unfair. Eliud Kipchoge and Kenenisa Bekele are now in the LeBron phase of their career, which is any extra that they can give us as fans is well appreciated. Kipchoge and Bekele had every right to retire and become sport ambassador and sit on their millions for like a few years now, but they're still grinding it. They're still coming to these races. For a couple years, that was the mentality around Kipchoge. Oh, he finished 8th. What a disappointing performance. Is this the end? We're past this point now. I think now it's more like, let's appreciate the fact that these guys are here. Let's appreciate the fact that they're not like jogging a 4-hour marathon and waving to fans, but they're here racing. I fully expect that they will give their best. And if that's a 2:10 and a 12th place finish, so be it. Give them their flowers, congratulate them. I'm excited to see what happens. And who knows, they're incredibly, again, Kipchoge and Bekele are incredibly talented athletes. I also wouldn't rule out a surprise podium performance. It can happen, but I don't think we should expect it anymore. It is not an A1 story anymore that they're there. It's more of like an A4 story, but I'm happy that they're there. They're going to make the weekend so much deeper and better.
Yeah, so we should say when you're looking at the men's elite field, that the top names in terms of like ranking seed time is a bit of an illusion because Eliud Kipchoge, who once was the world record holder and is the second fastest all time still, I'm correct on that one, right? He's the second fastest marathon runner of all time. He is now 40 years young. He actually turns 41 a few days after the race. He's in November 5th, 1984. He's so a Scorpio, guys.
Bekele is 82, so we share the same birth year. So we're the same age.
Go. And Bekele is
so he's got to be 43.
He's a Gemini.
Classic.
You don't know.
Classic.
You don't know.
I would have given him
in June.
I would have given him a Leo.
Born in June. You saw it. Okay.
There you go.
He gave me Leo vibes, but fine.
He does give me Leo vibes too. Yeah, very proud. But you're going to have this throwdown between two greats. I mean, Kipchoge, Bekele have the top 2 seed times, the 2:01 runners. They're 2 of the fastest marathon runners of all time, 2 of the greatest track runners of all time. And I'm really excited, like the old guy race, I'm really excited to watch the 40-plus throwdown between these two. And
me too.
Bekele was a late addition. I think it's really, like as you said, Alex, I think it's really cool that he's doing this. He does not have to do this at this age. I think this is really neat that he's still putting his hand to the flame and seeing how long he can hold it there. And I'll be curious to see how far these guys run. Will they get past the Queensboro Bridge with the lead pack? What sort of performance are we looking at from these guys? Bekele is a ferocious competitor, so he must be in pretty good shape to be adding himself like this to the field. I would say going down the start list here, I don't want to call them real contenders because that's unfair to those 2 other guys because you never know what happens on the day. But I would say the person who is probably the group that is probably most likely to run away with this race and perhaps challenge the course record. Benson Kipruto was a 2:02 runner, also one of the faster marathon runners in history, and has like a sneaky decorated marathon running career here. He's won Chicago, Tokyo, Boston.
That's a pretty good resume.
Am I missing anything here? And so he could take New York here. Deresa Galeta of Ethiopia is around 2:02, very fast. Alexander Matiso Munyao, who has won London, 2:03. Abdi Nagiye, Abdi Nagiye, 2:04.20, national record holder from the Netherlands. Abdi Nagiye, he won the New York City Marathon last year, and we're mentioning him like 7 minutes into the men's side of the preview here. And not to mention also, Alex, your boy.
My boy.
Alphonse
Simbu, the world champion who's putting Tanzania, along with Gabriel Guillet, let's say, is putting Tanzania on the world distance running map properly. And that's did we mention Evans Chebet? Did I blank for 2 seconds?
We haven't even mentioned him yet. Mm-hmm.
So then Evans Chebet, who's along with Nagie, a fellow former New York City champion. He won in 2022. He's a 2:03 flat guy. So yeah, the men's race goes really deep. There's also a fun American flavor to it. A few newcomers, relative newcomers to the marathon, and then a very familiar face. So Hillary Bohr, an American who's best known for his steeplechasing prowess, will be on the start line. He was one of these guys who got American citizenship through the U.S. military, which is like quite an interesting pathway, and now is probably likely to win the American race on the men's side, but he's got a couple young studs who will likely be running him down. So Joe Klecker is making his debut. He runs for On. He's been dabbling with the half marathon for a few years now. He was a tough varsity runner with the Colorado Buffaloes and their storied university program. And now he's just moving up the ranks on the roads. He's had mixed results in the last year, but he's a guy with a bunch of talent. Go 1 year back, and we were talking about Klecker versus Mance as the next one in American distance running, and clearly Connor Mance has made a huge jump. Who knows if Klecker can follow in his footsteps? And I mean, there's no 2:04 for Klecker, not right now, but he's one of the brightest spots in young American distance running. Then you have Reed Fisher, who's also making a name for himself in the marathon. He was like the distance guy in the Tin Man Elite group, that Adidas sponsored group. That they were a cool group because they made running YouTube kind of popular, elite distance running YouTube popular a couple years ago.
They sure did, yeah.
Yeah, and Reed Fisher was one of the main faces of that group, and he was the distance guy, so he'd do like half marathons, and now he's pretty deeply entrenched in a marathon career. He's run 2:10 and will likely look to make a jump in the sub 2:10s, which is not nothing either. So a few good American candidates. I wouldn't expect any of these guys to mix it up with the leaders, but hey, I'm sure a bunch of them have had one dream at some point or another to beat Eliud Kipchoge or Kenenisa Bekele, and this is probably their best shot at it.
Their only shot.
Yeah, this might be it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just like with Boston, you'll see an American athlete have a bit of a breakthrough and place in the top 10 and run fairly well, particularly because the course is a challenging one. Should also note, geez, it's such a deep field. There's at least 6 or 7, I'd say, like absolute contenders to win this race. And then on top of that, you can sprinkle in, I can't believe I'm saying this, you can sprinkle in Kipchoge and Bekele on top of that. With a little je ne sais quoi of maybe it's a magical day for the 40 plus crew. I don't know. But to add to this, 2021 New York City Marathon champion Albert Career of Kenya is also in there. He doesn't have the fastest seed time. It's a 2:06:57, but he's won the race, so he knows how to win there. You cannot discount Mr. Career as well. Okay, guys, that's the elite fields. My God, they're both good.
Is this going to be the most exciting major of the year?
Could be. It could be.
Yes.
Michael says
I'm trying to think. Hold on. Thinking about like the drama of the,
Chicago is drama, but it was just between two, and then the
only one that rivals it to me is Boston, and I think I'm just biased because we were there and it was sick, and Katelyn was running and Kelly was running.
There's a lot going on.
It was personally a fun race to follow, but I think on paper, this might be it. New York might be the number one.
In terms of the elite races, this could, because also the course creates so much drama because of the uncertainty of how the different elite athletes are going to manage the challenges of the course, right? And also because it's championship style racing, there was no pacers. So every woman and man for themselves. Okay, let's do picks here. Let's do women's first. Who are you picking? Alex, who are you picking?
If she was just a regular old time trialer and fast marathoner, I would be wary of picking Sifan Hassan over Lokedi and Obiri, who are seasoned and know how to race this course. But Sifan Hassan ain't normal, and it's weird. It'd be weird to bet against her. And so I'm going for the woman who has a personal best that's 9 full minutes faster than the course record. I don't think she can be beat. I welcome Hellen Obiri and Sharon Lokedi's bids at proving me wrong, but my money is on Hassan.
Do you pick Sifan over the whole field? Is that like if you're a betting man?
If I was a betting man, yes, I would.
Yeah, because you could probably get pretty good odds on that.
Yeah, likely.
I was going to make an NBA betting joke, but I'll just leave it.
Guys, we're alternative sports. We're on baseball jokes. We're watching baseball right now. No NBA stuff.
That's right.
Sorry for my LeBron reference. That was out of pocket.
Dead right now. We recorded this after an 18-inning baseball game. God,
I'm shocked you stayed up.
I'm in there for.
Yeah.
I'll call myself out. I fell asleep on the couch. It was too much.
That's a real fan.
I only made it 13 and a half innings, and then I couldn't do it anymore. It was after 1 a.m. Eastern time, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tapping out. So Katelyn, your pick.
Just couldn't. Everything he said, I would have said. Sorry that I'm not going to be more interesting. It's obviously Sifan Hassan. No. She is she can wear all hats. She impresses us every time. And like Alex said, not just a time trialer. I mean, we saw how amazingly she did in Paris. And that's after 2 more races under her belt in the Olympics. I just feel like she's got an edge. It's going to be really exciting, but I'm going with Sifan Hassan. What about you, Michael?
Sharon Lokedi for the win.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's do this. I love it. Okay. I wanted you to mix it up.
I couldn't go chalk with you guys. I want to, because as I said before, I think that Hassan is like just ready-made for this course, for this event, everything about it. None of this is too big for her, right? I mean, New York is too big for a lot of people, but then Sifan Hassan can handle this. My only issue is that there's some wear on the tires from a recent marathon that also was hilly and challenging. And not to say that Sifan Hassan cannot handle, it's a wild thing to say, two marathon majors wins in a season. I don't know if, has anyone ever done that? At least not.
That's a good question.
In recent history, I did not do my perfect research to know, but I truly do not think so. I don't know how that could have happened.
We would remember.
Yeah.
Will this become a thing? Will this become will the Sydney, New York double become a thing for certain elite marathon runners where they can double dip 2 world marathon majors in 1 season?
This is like the Western States UTMB Hard Rock situation. Like Courtney, won them all, ran them all, won them all 1 year.
If Sifan Hassan could have like the London, I would be like what? Yeah, like Boston or London, because they're both in April, of course. And then Sydney, New York, all in 1 year. That would be spectacular if you could win all 3 of those. That would be an all-time
triple
year. But I'm going to say she's going to come in 3rd. I think we're going to go Lokedi, Kipruto, Hassan, Obiri.
Good God. Okay.
And what is it? Sorry, Sifan, where is she?
Where's Sisson? She's going to be like 7th or 8th.
Okay.
She's going to get in there. She's gonna be
I wanted
10.
to see where she would be.
Yeah. I think Sharon Lokedi is just like she's occupied a little real estate in Hellen Obiri's mind. She set up a little it's a little condo. It's a nice little it's a 1-bedroom, but she's there. And she owns it now.
She's after
the Boston performance this spring. She's there.
She's got her big, clumpy Under Armour shoes at the doorstep, just ready to pounce and protect. She's protecting that condo. She's protecting that house.
Protect the condo. She's keeping the light on for Under Armour and running for sure. And she will do that in New York. That's my pick. Okay, men's side.
So I went back and forth, and I don't want to be that guy who just picks the favorite in both fields. And let's be honest, Benson Kipruto is the favorite, and so I'm picking him. So here's why I'm bullish on Kipruto. I think he's on a mission to win a bunch of majors, like you said. It's a sneaky tactic that he has of just like grabbing. It manages to grab like a few golds without people noticing what he's up to. He's got 3 of them. And I also just like the races that he's won. He's not just a time trial guy. He can handle tough courses. He's won Boston. And that makes me feel like he's not just a guy who can run 202. He's a guy who can run in tough situations and tactically. I struggle to see him lose. His contemporaries in the 202 area, like Duressa Galeta, hasn't quite shown me that he's a big games hunter. He's always in the mix, but he never quite gets to the top of the podium. And I hate to say it, but I think Evans Chebet's time was 2022, 2023. I think he's lost a bit of a step on these other guys. And I'll leave it there. There are a few more big contenders, but I don't want to influence you guys. So Benson Kipruto is my pick.
I'm gonna counter you, and I'm gonna go with Chebet. Okay, I'm gonna go with Chebet because on his resume, he has Boston and New York wins, so he already has won New York, right? If I'm not mistaken, that means he is good at tough races, and we know that because he has 2 major marathons that are the tougher races, and he has won those. So I feel like the experience to be running those tougher races and to get on those podiums and win is also a gold star for him. So I'm going to go against you because I don't want to pick the same one. So I'm going to go with Chebet. I'm going to give you that competition there.
Good pick because Chebet also hates to lose. They interviewed him after he finished like 3rd or 4th.
Salty, that guy.
He looked ready to kill the reporters, man. Yeah. This guy has a competitive streak, so you might be on to something.
Oh man, this is a tough one. I think I'm not going Kipruto. I recall in Tokyo this year, he did not have the greatest race. He finished 7th. Although when you look at his resume and you look at the last few years, it's like he's podium in every world marathon major he runs. He's got a bunch of wins. He's, as you said, he's won Boston, which is always a bellwether for having a great performance in New York, and shows a great marathoning mind. But I'm going to go, I don't know why I'm going to do this, but I'm going to go Alexander Matisse Munoz.
I felt that you were going to pick him. I had a feeling you were going to pick him.
Mm-hmm.
He's won London, very different race than this race, of course, but he is a talented, very fast marathon runner who has got a great resume himself. And I just feel like what's going to happen is there's going to be a big group of these guys, and they're going to go through all the way to about like 22 miles, and it's going to start to break apart. We're going to have a smaller group running in Manhattan, and then it's going to sort of suddenly turn into speed. And I like Mr. Matiso Munoz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So very curious to see how Kipchoge does. You guys have a Kipchoge Bekele prediction?
Kipchoge over Bekele.
Okay.
I'd like to say the same.
Kipchoge over Bekele. I think Kipchoge was probably like, damn, when he saw Bekele sign up. He was like, I'm going to be like the fast 40-plus guy. Now he's got to actually work really hard for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're talking about real estate in people's minds. I think Kipchoge's in Bekele's head. Bekele doesn't beat Kipchoge. Kipchoge beats Bekele.
Mm-hmm.
He's
agreed.
Bekele is totally the John Lennon in this. There's some jealousy. There's some ferocity of the personality, some intensity. God damn it, everyone loves Paul and those nice, happy songs that he writes.
Is there a Yoko?
We'll find out
about these guys.
We'll find out in New York.
We don't know.
Is there a Yoko? She was misunderstood. Great Fluxus artist. Yeah, who's the? Wow, we're just taking. We're going. Who's the Ringo here?
The Ringo.
I just picture approaching Bekele at the athlete availability and say, so, like Eliud is Paul and you're John. So like, who's Yoko? What do you think he says?
Yeah.
Bekele? He looks at you and he's like, what are you talking about? You can try that. Why don't you try that at the press conference? The media availability for the elite athletes, you can say like, which Beatle are you? And we'll see what kind of response we get.
And he's like,
know thyself.
And he's like, the dung beetle. It's like, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, the dung beetle. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. So last but not least, guys, to wrap this thing up, our long-suffering gimmick here at the end of our World Marathon Major previews. I feel like we almost need like intro music for this or whatever, or like the sad trombone effect. Wah, 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 wah.
No, I'm going to repeat this again, and I said it before Chicago. We should do this in the instant reaction pod right after the marathon, because I think that a change could be made between today, Tuesday, and then Sunday afternoon.
Okay, so refresher for those who are not painfully aware of this already. These 7 marathon majors are Tokyo, Boston, London, Sydney, Berlin, Chicago, New York. Okay? Got them all right?
Yes.
We do this exercise. We entirely subjectively power rank them. The criteria of how you power rank them is totally up to you. You can justify your ridiculous power ranking as you see fit. Katelyn Tocci.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
Give us your 7 from 7 to 1. So we get a little bit of drama.
Okay. 7 is Sydney, still very new. So I'm trying to warm up to it. Need to learn a little more about it.
I get so much Australian hate mail. We need to move hide it in 5th or 6th.
Sorry,
okay.
No, but I mean,
no, that's fine. That's
who
fine.
doesn't want to go to Australia? I mean, I would love to go to Australia. So Tokyo as number 6. Then I've got Chicago stayed for me at number 5. Yeah, maybe next year as well, we could even be more on the ground during the race, which would be really fun to kind of get that experience in there. 4 sticks with me for Berlin. Love to go to Berlin just on vacation for history and run that incredible marathon. 3 right now, New York right now is sitting at 3 because of it's sitting at 3. London is 2, and I still say it because that's going to be the race we're going to run, the 3 of us holding hands together. And 1 is Boston because Boston is Boston. It's my home.
Yeah, Homer. You Homer.
Yeah.
I wonder if yours has changed at all. It's like, I think you've got this. I think you've been locked in for a while. It's good.
Think so
You're
too.
steadfast in your beliefs. This is good. Mr. Sear, 7 to 1.
I have a big change.
Oh.
So, okay, first, sorry to Jerry from Brisbane, to Martha from Sydney, and all of our other fictional or real viewers from Australia. Sydney is still 7 for me.
Sydney is 7 for you. Okay.
Sydney's still 7. Needs to prove itself. I agree with Katelyn. 6 to me is Berlin. 5, Chicago. 4th, Tokyo. Now, here is my big change. The change has nothing to do with the order of my power rankings, but I'm adding a great divide. And I haven't heard yours yet, Michael, but there's a trend in all of our rankings, and I don't know if consciously or subconsciously it exists, but I've noticed that there's a huge jump between those 4 that I mentioned and my top 3, which right now are New York 3, Boston 2, London 1. A little bit because I want to do London, and I just think it's a cool city that I haven't seen much of yet.
Yes.
But there's a great divide, and I think it speaks to what's those top 3 races do well, which we've gone on about in this podcast, but also speaks to strikes that the other 4 races have. And I'll call them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sydney, not your fault. It's new. Give it time. It's the marathon with the most upwards potential to me, but it has to prove itself. So it's not really a strike, but I guess for the sake of this ranking, it's a strike. Chicago's strike is unfortunately Ruth Chepngetich. It needs some time to recreate its reputation. I don't feel that that's fair to Chicago. I think if Chicago were to ban that record somehow, it would go up on my list. I think it needs to shed its reputation as the place where women's marathoning went whack and haywire for a little while. Berlin, my strike is that it's too late in the morning and it's too hot. And it's for a race that's known to be fast, that's a no-go. You need to find a way to make this race fast once again for elite athletes, but for recreational athletes and everyone in between.
Yes.
And Tokyo, this is a North American take, but we don't see enough of it. They haven't figured out a really great way to broadcast this race across the world and hype this race across the world. We have friends, like, other than the fact that I cover running, I have friends who've done Tokyo, and you kind of don't know anything about their results. It's hard to track them on the app. You don't hear about the pre-race hype. It's hard to actually catch the race. And so it kind of goes unnoticed for people who aren't as dialed in as us, because this is kind of what we do. Those strikes make those races the bottom 4. There's a top 3 and there's a bottom 4 right now. And that seems very, very clear in my mind.
And our top 3 are the same. Boston, London.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I think. Like there's probably some, like maybe one of us is crazy, but not all 3 of us are crazy, right? Like,
so I'll give you my
let's
7.
Let's hear Michael.
7. Berlin.
Ha. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Get to that in a second. 6, Sydney, and Tokyo is 5th. It's sort of a tie. Chicago 4, Boston 3, London 2, New York City Marathon number 1. So I have my top 3 are your top 3 as well in a different order. We all have a different order. It's kind of interesting, our order here. But I think you guys are right. I think, Alex, you're speaking to something, which is there are the sort of like the golden 3 are New York, London, and Boston. And the most desirable have the most amount of, I'd say, history and clout to them as well. Even though I believe London was only started in 1980 or 84, early 80s. So, but the others, you're right, they have kind of flaws to them. Chicago, I think it's getting to be a bit too big. Same with Berlin. Berlin was too hot. You're right. It's too early in the season. It's too late in the day. It's like, Alex, you're right. I know that it was unusual weather this year, but what happens if that unusual weather becomes more usual, which, you know, from a climate change perspective,
probably will,
seems to be the trend, right? So you're going to have to do something about that. Sydney, again, I'm not knocking it. It looks like a fantastic race. Looks like a beautiful city to run through. Just needs to develop more history as a world marathon major. Last question for you guys. And of course, it was a entirely subjective power ranking. So it's just how I feel about them
today,
Tuesday, October 28th. Ask me after I've had lunch and I may change my mind. One last thing to add in before we go here, before we end the pod and get on our respective airplanes and start going towards New York City. Will there be an announcement at the end of the marathon? Our colleague Thomas is going to be in the media center, and we're actually going to chat with him periodically throughout the live watch along pod. We're going to have him patch him in, our man on the ground at the finish line, Thomas. Last year when I was there was a little rumor that went around the room. It was like, don't leave when the elite races are done. Don't leave because we've got an announcement. And I knew what the announcement was because there was kind of a rumor floating around for about a week beforehand. And that was that Sydney would be formally announced as the next World Marathon Major, the 7th World Marathon Major. That's where it was done. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, past World Marathon Majors like Tokyo, and it was added about 10 or so years ago, was also in New York. So Cape Town. It has been long rumored that it's going to be the next World Marathon Major. It's in the finalist stage of its going through the evaluation criteria that the World Marathon Majors puts you through. But literal disaster struck this year with this race. Right. It was canceled just before the
hour before. Yeah.
High winds, catastrophic winds. It was canceled. So that race did not happen. So that the World Marathon Majors folks were not able to evaluate the race to decide whether or not this was the year to graduate it into marathon major status. It would have become the first African World Marathon Major, really adding a global element to this race, although very debatable whether or not watering down the product, whether or not Cape Town is sort of up for the task, and so on and so forth. Not here to debate that today. Question for you both. Do you think Cape Town will get announced regardless? Do you think they're going to oversee this act of God of the cancellation of it this year?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Caitlin's shaking her head no, and I'm going yes.
Like they're going to need another year.
But I agree with you, Katelyn. I think what's going to happen is they're going to announce Cape Town as the 8th marathon major, but have the inaugural race happen in the late spring of 2027. They're going to give it another year to stay at the time that it is now, this point of the year.
And they're going to move it.
And then the next year they're going to move it. So in 2026, the Cape Town Marathon will proceed as planned. And then 8 or so months later, the Cape Town Marathon debuting as a major will happen. And I say that for 2 reasons. I mean, one is if you keep Cape Town as a fall marathon and have it as a major, well, then you have a lopsided year, right? You have 5 majors in the fall and then 3 in the spring, which just seems like a weird strategy, unless the marathon majors are building up to 10 or so marathons, which I think, I spoke to a futurist from TCS, Bill Quinn, and I'm not quoting him here. This was all speculative. We're just kind of having a fun conversation about it, and I don't think he knows, but he seems to think that eventually, as more people want to race, there will be more major marathons, and he's not the only person to talk about this. I think it's widely regarded and widely thought of in the world of distance running that the marathon major roster will grow in the next few years. Anyway, I think the next move for Abbott is to make the 8th marathon a spring marathon. And maybe this year, yes, it was a weird one-off weather thing that happened, but maybe this makes the race organizers reconsider when might be the best time of year to have this marathon. Now I'm very removed from this. I've never been to Cape Town. I don't live there. I'm not well versed in South African climate, and so maybe the spring is no better than the fall. But given what's going on with Berlin, I think they're going to want to give a lot of thought to when this marathon would happen. But just for balance purposes, to me, it would make sense to have it in the spring. So I'm saying Cape Town spring 2027.
I wonder if you're right. I haven't heard anything. We'll keep our ear to the ground as we get to New York, because these things do get discussed and whispered when you're in the big city with all of our colleagues in the industry hanging around chatting. Cape Town is in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, and just, doing a little like weather analysis here. Its coldest month on average is actually June, which is fascinating.
There you
go. From a World Marathon Majors calendar standpoint. However, that's the rainy season. So you're dealing with potential rain issues in the middle of the year. Wouldn't it be exciting if there was World Marathon Major just like smack dab in the middle of the summertime? Wouldn't that be cool? Like summertime in the Northern Hemisphere?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Why not have it in July?
Also, like June, July's rainy season. That's the problem.
Both
the
of them,
cooler point of the year. It's the coldest point of the year is June, July, but that's the rainy season. You could have it in April, less rain. The minimum is 12 degrees Celsius, maximum 24.7 on average for a 20-year period between 1991 and 2020. So you could slot it in that kind of April timeframe with London and Boston.
Then the people who do the Boston-London 6-day apart thing could just add one more.
Yeah,
just add one more. Just do a 3 for
jump over to Cape Town.
Just a few more frequent flyer points added there. Just a couple $1,000 more to the spring marathon tour expense list. Yeah, that's interesting. We will definitely report on that if we hear that happening. I think we'll probably talk about that at some point in the near future as well. Like what's the future of the World Marathon Majors? Actually, probably a good like podcast subject in the off season for the marathon. In the marathon scheme of things, and it's never, as we've discovered, there's never an off season in talking about running. All right, guys. So
Alex and I have to go pack pretty much.
I feel like I need to pack too. So much gear, so many cables. So many Amazon packages with various chargers and batteries just descending upon my house right now to get everything covered off. Okay, so live show Saturday, the Balance Arts Center on West 30th Street in Midtown in Manhattan. Doors open. Why did I just say that like Donald Trump? Midtown Manhattan.
That's burned in your mind.
This man. Okay, so doors open 11:30-ish. We will put a link to the Google form for you to RSVP. Please do so. We'd love to see you. You can bring a +1 if you'd like. It's totally free. Bring along a sandwich. Bring your favorite sport drink. Pack the Morton. Suck away at gels while you hear us chat. We're going to have some special guests. We're going to give you one of these hats if you're one of the first 40 people to walk through the door. And show should be an hour and change, and there will be a Q&A section as well. And it's going to be a ton of fun. We'll hope to see you there. We're doing a live watch-along live watch-along show. It's like the world's longest podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It will be on our YouTube channel. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Marathon Handbook, or just search Marathon Handbook and you'll find us there. Make sure you subscribe to get notifications for that. Do an instant reaction podcast right after the marathon wraps. We'll crank that sucker out. We might even do it live and we'll push it out. I'm just throwing just curveballs at you guys left and right here. We might even do the instant reaction podcast live.
How many hours straight we're going to be talking? We're going to finish. Alex, I think there's no karaoke on Sunday night. We're gonna be like, voice will be left in our
4.5. 4.5 hours.
Drink your tea.
Yes, we'll have tea next to us the whole time.
And then, and then we'll just a final little tease. We're shooting. I think we're nesting 2 episodes of a secret new project for our YouTube channel that we are filming in New York. We have one from Toronto that we've already filmed with we call her a running comedian, an Instagram star, influencer. She's okay with influencer.
She's okay with influencer, but she's an influencer in the best way.
Yeah. Laura Green. She's amazing. She did an awesome game show in Toronto. She's wonderful. A Cambridgeian. It's a Bostonian. What's somebody who lives in Cambridge?
Boston.
Cambridger. Anyway, she lives
Cambridgerton.
She lives in Cambridge.
In Habit Square?
We have a nearby. We have an episode, inaugural episode of this new project we're working on. Name TBD. We do not know yet, but we are working on a secret new project that will come live on our YouTube channel soon. So keep an eye out for that. And holy crap, if you've listened to all of this, give us a rating and review on the podcasting platform of your choice. It really helps us reach other runners like yourselves. All right, guys, last thing. New York. What we had this in the show notes. We didn't even tackle this off the top. One thing you're going to really fast, Alex, one thing you're going to do in New York that is it can be running related, but one thing you're going to sneak away from the rest of the crew and sneak off and do in New York City. One New York City thing you want to do.
I still need to see a live episode of Saturday Night Live. I love the show. I've never done it, and I probably won't do it this time because we're going to be too busy, but if at all possible, I will get there.
Okay, Alex, I want to go with you. So
yes, please
sign me up for that. I absolutely want to do that. And number 2 would also be another kind of show for me. My number 1 would be to go see a Broadway musical. Obviously, if I can sneak away, I need 2 hours though, not 1 hour.
I like both of those. You guys, I'm so predictable and I'm totally going to do this.
I know I can guess.
Go guess.
Okay.
How well do you know me?
My first guess would be that there is this really incredible used antique bookstore that you want to go check out. And there are some first editions that you want to see while you're there. Is that right? No.
No, you're right. I'm so pathetic.
No, you're not. That's such a cool thing.
I've got the Running Sicko hat. I should get Book Sicko on my hat as well. Oh, that's good. My second Instagram or first Instagram handle will be Book Sicko. I'll have a book Instagram. I'll get on Book Talk and go hard. That's what they need. 45-year-old man on TikTok talking about books. Yes, I am going to definitely hit the Strand bookstore. Multi-stories.
There you go.
Their whole shtick is however many miles of books. If you line them all up, it's many, many miles of books. It's an amazing store. I go there every time I'm in New York. There's also a photo book store I think it's called Dashwood. That was really cool. That I need to hit that I haven't been to in a few years. For like fine art photography stuff. Yes, I'm a book
Very
nerd.
Cool.
I'm psyched. New York is along with London, the epicenter of book nerddom. All right, guys. New York City.
See you the day after tomorrow.
Here we come.
The day after tomorrow.